There's a kind of beauty that frightens you, beauty held so tightly it squeaks. The ballet demands it, control, discipline, poise over pain. On a late September evening in Lakewood Ranch, Florida, that kind of beauty meant something far less delicate. A door, a living room, a firearm, and then 2 shots. A former ballerina, Ashley Benefield, would say she feared her life. Prosecutors would say she wanted sole custody. Douglas Doug Benefield would never speak again. Ashley grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, the youngest, the most exacting, the girl who found safety in repetition. At the bar, she learned that control could feel like oxygen. She studied hard, danced harder, and built a spine of steel one plie at a time. Teachers praised her focus. Friends noticed her intensity, the way excellence wasn't a goal so much as an edge she lived on. The stage, though, can be cruel. An injury in her early 20s sharpened a question she'd been avoiding. If you're not dancing, who are you? She kept orbiting the world she loved, modeling, advising, teaching, still hungry for a stage of her own. Douglas Benefield wasn't a stage person, but he knew stages, politics, business, rooms where money and influence waltzed. A one-time Navy flight officer, a consultant later on, a widower raising a teenage daughter after tragedy. He was courteous, confident, and decades older than Ashley. To some, the age gap raised eyebrows. To them, it felt like it fit. Her fire to build, his resources to build it. He already had a family story, an older daughter navigating grief, and the memory of a wife gone too soon. When he met Ashley, he saw possibility. She saw a door to a bigger dream. August 2016, Charleston, a political fundraiser. She was 24, he was not. They spoke. The room narrowed until there was only this: 2 people who believed they could do big things quickly. 13 days later, they were married. And because love is sometimes also a blueprint, they drafted an audacious plan, the American National Ballet, a company to champion the overlooked, the unconventional, the extraordinary. It launched with bold promises, diversity on stage, a new home base, and a fresh way of paving artists. But within weeks, the shine scratched. Mass layoffs, rumors about money, lawsuits circling. The founders insisted it was a strategic pivot, a merger coming. Dancers heard something different, the crack of a dream mid-pirouette. They moved to Florida. Public promise gave way to private pressure. Ashley would allege a pattern, control, verbal abuse, a fear that seeped under doors, then a claim that scaled the walls, poisoning. She said Doug was dosing her with heavy metals even during pregnancy. He denied everything. Courts later would say the evidence wasn't there to support poisoning, but between allegation and denial lived the hot breath of dread. Their daughter, Emerson, was born in March 2018. Ashley didn't tell Doug in real time. He learned of her birth after, through legal filings. He met his baby months later. Imagine what that does to a father. Imagine what it does to a marriage already on thin ice. By May 2020, Ashley filed for protection. Moves were planned, another state, a different life, perhaps safety. Doug filed his own papers. In text and testimony, each side became a mirror to the other's fear. You're dangerous. No, you are. The custody battle over a toddler became a gravity well, pulling every conversation into its spin. It was supposed to be logistics, packing a U-Haul, sorting boxes, a a transition more than a reunion. Ashley's mother took the little one to the park. Doug and Ashley remained in the house, the rooms too small for everything unsaid. What happened next is told in two voices that never again agreed. Ashley said he hit her, pinned her, kept her from leaving, danger so close she could taste metal. She reached for a gun. 2 shots, one to the leg, one to the arm, a bullet that traveled into his chest. He collapsed inside the house. Ashley left, walked to a neighbor, the gun still in her hand, saying she shot in self-defense. Paramedics would carry Doug out. The hospital would not carry him back. Inside were 3 firearms, 2 reportedly within reach of a toddler. Shell casings, trajectories taped across a room that suddenly felt smaller than a cell. The state looked at angles and distances and saw a story that clashed with self-defense. The defense looked at the same room and saw chaos, a split second that separates one mother from becoming a memory. News traveled quickly in a community that isn't built for tragedy. The ballet world whispered. The local court spoke, and within weeks the paperwork found its shape. Second-degree murder. Bonds. Motions. The long intake of breath before a trial that would take nearly 4 years to begin. When July 2024 arrived, the room held 2 realities like loaded dice. The prosecution said this wasn't terror, it was strategy in a custody war. They said the abuse claims, especially poisoning, weren't supported by evidence, and the shooting was the most final way to win. The defense said it was survival. A woman cornered by a man who controlled and hurt her, who snapped when she wouldn't yield, and who left her no seconds to spare. Witnesses came and went. Neighbors who heard shouting, first responders who found the body, and experts who mapped a bullet's path like a constellation. The older daughter, the one from before, cast a long, quiet shadow over it all. A reminder that this wasn't just a duet, it was a family fractured beyond easy repair. When Ashley took the stand, the room's oxygen changed. She describes a pattern: control, rages, fear that made the ordinary dangerous. She spoke of that night, the strike, the panic, the gun, the 2 explosions that she says saved her life and ended his. The state pressed. Why 2 shots? Why these angles? Why here, inside? The answers couldn't raise the dead or lower the stakes. After about 7 hours of deliberation, the jury split the difference most juries don't admit exists. Not guilty of second-degree murder. Guilty of manslaughter with a firearm. The prosecutor's theory of calculation met the defense's plea of fear, and the verdict landed in the gray where most human tragedies live. In December 2024, the court set the final measure: 20 years in prison plus 10 years probation. Later attempts to undo it, a new trial, motions, misconduct claims, failed. As of 2025, Ashley Benefield remains incarcerated. The child at the center of all this grows, and the echo in the living room where the arguments lived has long since gone quiet.